The measuring stick just changed around here, buddy. You're looking at it.
You are now listening to the Outsiders Podcast, the most exciting and hard-hitting show on the net. And now, bringing it hard as always on the Kansas City Chiefs and the NFL, here are your hosts, Clint Schweitzer and Noah Groniger.
Welcome to the Outsiders Podcast, where it is always the same old situation. Thank you, Motley Crue. And they say, no, no, no.
That's what I said when I woke up to find that we have traded a second-round pick for backup quarterback Alex Smith.
Well, here we are. We knew that this was a possibility, and as we head towards the draft in April, the Kansas City Chiefs have made it official. They have traded their second overall pick, which is the 34th pick, for Alex Smith, and picks down the road. We think maybe a third or fourth in 2014, but they've went out, they've got their guy, and immediately this regime has hitched their wagons to another backup quarterback, very similarly to how Scott Pioli hitched his to Matt Castle. In fact, Alex Smith and Matt Castle are basically the same player. I'm sorry, but that's the case. People are going to try to argue that point. The stats bear it out, Noah.
Oh, definitely. Alex Smith has played 80 games. Matt Castle, 78. 2 games separate them. Matt Castle has 82 touchdowns to Alex Smith's 81. Matt Castle has few interceptions with 57 to Alex Smith's 63.
And that's really unfortunate considering that Alex Smith was the first overall pick in 2005 and Matt Castle was a 7th-round pick and had never played a down of college football and has similar stats or better stats than Alex Smith, the first overall pick in 2005.
And here we go. Dorsey pulls a Pioli, and I'd fire him today if I was Clark Hunt.
No,
are you kidding me?
No, I think
are you kidding me?
This was a detrimental and I think a bad move, and I'm certainly leaning towards really questioning this regime at this point. I don't see how you can look at the history of this organization if you're Andy Reid and you're John Dorsey and make this move, knowing that the fans have had it with this sort of, these cast-offs from other teams. We've been doing this in the totality of the organization's existence. This is what the Chiefs have done. It's not how you win Super Bowls.
It's not how you win Super Bowls. You've got to get your franchise guy. You've got to draft a quarterback and develop him, and that's not what we're doing.
Why is it that they refuse to do this? Is it because this is a conservative approach? And I think the Chiefs are going to be a better team than they were in 2012, which won't be hard. They were 1-2 games, one of the worst teams I've ever seen. With Alex Smith, he's going to give you probably some good numbers. He's going to be your game manager. He's going to be okay.
Some more exciting games. We'll win 6-7 games. Woo! But what are we doing to win a Super Bowl? This does nothing.
No.
We are in the same spot we were when we traded for Matt Castle. Scott Pioli and Matt Castle. Well, Matt Castle is soon to be gone. Scott Pioli is gone. John Dorsey, Andy Reid, Alex Smith, you will soon be gone too on NFL Network because you will be out of jobs because you have blown another opportunity.
I agree with that because for the first, and when you say opportunity, the Chiefs are sitting here. It's here we are in late February. The Chiefs are still on the clock with the first overall pick, which means they could have any play. They have the field to choose from.
Yeah, but it's not like years past where they say, "Oh, RG3 and Andrew Luck, they went 1-2. Now we got to take John Terry Poe. There's no one there. There's no quarterbacks. Wait, we have the number 1 pick. We have the pick of the litter. Anyone that we desire as a quarterback. No, we're going to take Alex Smith and draft, I don't know, Luke Jokel and just,
That's the thing. Let's start there because does this team get any better in your eyes by trading for Alex Smith, drafting Luke Jokel, and letting Brandon Albert go? When you already had a left tackle on the roster, you're trading, your left tackle and Brandon Albert, cutting Castle for Alex Smith, drafting Luke Jokel. Is the team any better at that point?
I mean,
marginally.
I mean, if you get a Luke Jokel who could possibly be a Joe Thomas, maybe who's the best left tackle in the game.
Who's never won a playoff game or been in a playoff game.
How many games what has he done for the Cleveland Browns? Joe Thomas, their franchise left tackle, the best left tackle in the game. He won the Super Bowl for him last year. Oh, wait, no, he did not. Left tackles, I mean, you need to have a solid one. But taking one in the first round, first overall, I mean, over a quarterback, when you need that franchise quarterback, that's what gets you to the Super Bowl.
Fireable offense.
Not the left tackles. It is a fireable offense. Fire John Dorsey right now. He's a goddamn idiot. He's sitting there. Everyone thinks he's done all this great stuff in Green Bay. No, that was Ted Thompson, their GM. I mean, John Dorsey was there cutting his sandwiches or whatever, getting him a soda from the vending machine. He did not pick those players. He did not draft them. He did not sign free agents. He sat there on his ass, and once he gets his first opportunity, he trades a second-round pick for Alex freaking Smith.
Well, he didn't, and this is the thing about that why I didn't like the John Dorsey hiring at GM. This is a guy who came in here. His first interview was a disaster. Got some things wrong, like he didn't know when the Chiefs picked.
Yeah, he said we had the first pick in every round.
We don't.
No, we trade with the Jaguars.
And it's stuff like that you'll remember years down the road. And also the fact that it's easy for John Dorsey to sit there and say, "Oh, we're going to take the best available player," when he had the 23rd, 24th, 32nd.
And we already have Brett Favre, the franchise quarterback.
Had Brett Favre, had Aaron Rodgers. Didn't have to worry about finding a quarterback. And that's why they were able to take best available. That's why they were able to take the Clay Matthews and B.J. Rajis of the world, because they had their franchise quarterback. They had good receivers around, Aaron Rodgers and Brett Favre prior to that. I think that this is
just regurgitating what he's heard from Ted Thompson. He doesn't have any ideas of his own.
Just like Pioli. It was the
actually,
Patriot
he does
way.
have an idea of his own, and you saw what it amounted to today. A second rounder for freaking Alex Smith.
And again, you're talking about, you're going to be comparing Alex Smith to Geno Smith, because basically what you did is you took Geno Smith off the board as your first overall pick. That's not happening. You've said Alex Smith is better than Geno Smith. That's what you've done. In an era where rookies are coming in and playing so well, leading their teams to playoff wins, leading them to the Super Bowl, and a second-year player in Colin Kaepernick, who, by the way, a dynamic, young, talented, strong-arm player who they went ahead and ran with instead of Alex Smith, went to a Super Bowl, should have won it. The Chiefs have that sitting there, possibility in Geno Smith, and they've said no thanks. Why?
Alex Smith's best season was 3,144 yards, 17 touchdowns, and 5 interceptions.
Not good enough.
When Geno Smith is 29, is he going to have better numbers than that?
Oh, yeah.
Of course, 3,000, 17 and 5. I mean, come on.
He could put that up as a rookie easily, and I would not bat an eye at it.
That's his best season. That's worse than Matt Castle's best season, which was 27 touchdowns
and 7
to
picks.
7
Yeah. interceptions.
That's 10 more touchdowns.
That's the scary part. That's what we're looking at here. Because Geno Smith, everybody wants to say, the media, ESPN is going to tell every single person. A lot of people are brainwashed out there. A lot of people we interact with on Twitter and Facebook always spat back at us. There's not a number one pick. There's not a quarterback worthy of the number one pick. If you're going to reach at a position, even if it's marginally, and I think the Cardinals are going to take him at 7.
Yep.
If you're going to reach 6 picks for a player, how about at quarterback, which is the most important position on the field, instead of, people didn't seem to mind when we were reaching for the Tyson Jacksons and Glenn Dorseys and
Dontari Poe's?
No, that's okay. But just don't, whatever you do,
don't reach for the quarterback.
Can't do it.
We don't want to be successful around here. Yes, could possibly bust, but I mean, so could Joko. We don't know about any of these guys.
So why has this happened? Why not Geno Smith? Do you think that they sat around and evaluated this and said, we've got it. Alex Smith is better than Geno. We're not doing it. What is the thought process here?
I really don't understand. I mean, other than that, maybe Alex Smith is ready right now. They figured Geno would take a year or two, and they can't take him number one and have him sit. The backlash from that, I don't know.
No, in 2013, in this day and age, rookies aren't sitting. They're not sitting on benches. They're playing football and leading teams to playoffs. That's what they do.
Well, they must have thought he wasn't ready, but you just throw him out there and let him learn under fire. I mean, Peyton Manning had a horrible first season. Troy Aikman had a horrible first season. Troy Aikman went 1-15. I don't think Peyton Manning was much better than that.
But here we are. This is the case. The Chiefs have now not only given up on a first round pick at a quarterback. It's now they've traded their second pick away, so that's not going to happen. At earliest, the Chiefs could take one in the third, and it's just some loser crapshoot, and that's not going to help your team.
We definitely do not want to franchise Brandon Albert, sign Dwayne Bowe to a long-term deal, draft Geno Smith number one, and get a corner in the second round. And wow, we've taken care of all our bases. Nope. Let's draft unproven Luke Jokel, who could bust out and be awful. We've got a mediocre at best quarterback. Dwayne Bowe, I wouldn't sign here if I was him.
Not a
I mean,
chance. He may though. He may, but I wouldn't do it if I were him.
you've been given Tyler Thigpen, Damon Heward, Brody Croyle, Matt Castle, Brady Quinn, and now Alex Smith. And you're a top wide receiver. That is an embarrassment. Get out of here. Go find a great quarterback to play with. Maybe Tom Brady.
I would
Get your
too.
numbers. Win Super Bowls. Get out of Kansas City. Everyone flee. Abandon ship.
The fan base has been through enough. We've just been through, and is it just me, or does every single person that walks into One Arrowhead Drive into the offices just immediately, as soon as they step through the doors, like in Field of Dreams, stepping over the line, like do they just immediately become bumbling fools?
Apparently, I mean, Scott Pioli, Executive of the Year, I believe 2 or 3 times, and he comes in. Oh, gotta get Matt Castle, second rounder for him and Vrabel, and he's just the worst thing ever. And now we're doing it all over again without. Why even change regimes?
Right.
If we're gonna do the exact same thing, just with different faces,
In fact,
different people.
I think if Pioli had
it's
stayed,
an illusion. It's a mirage.
I think if Pioli had stayed, we would not be going this route. I think his feet would have been to the fire, and he would have just had to. His last ditch effort would have been to have to draft a quarterback, and I would rather that have happened than this. I'm sorry, like.
Might as well just keep Matt Castle this year. I mean, for crying out loud.
But
you can't give up your second round pick for a freaking loser.
Now, here's the thing. When this happened, when it was, over Christmas break and it was, and over New Year's when we fired Pioli, we fired Romeo Crennel, we brought in Andy Reid. Immediately, Chiefs fans just went crazy. This is great. We've done it. We've solved it. Clark, thank you. You've turned it around. Noah and I cautioned all of you to wait and see what these guys started doing. The hiring of the coordinators concerned us.
I was
Bob
skeptical.
Sutton,
Yeah.
these type of guys, we don't know much. We don't know.
Doug Peterson.
Doug
I
Peterson.
was skeptical from the start. I mean, just John Dorsey having no GM experience, just sitting there and, like I said, cutting Ted Thompson's sandwich into 4s for him, cutting the crust off.
Hopefully crust off. You don't want
Yes,
any crust
we
on
definitely
there.
don't want the crust. And Andy Reid, I mean, we don't even take a sniff at Lovie Smith, who freaking went 10-6 with the Bears, but we go after Andy Reid, who went 4-12, and
And I think Reed's a good coach, and I think he can come in here and get this team better. But this, to me, and this is what we've been preaching all season, Chiefs fans, it's not about getting better. It's about winning a Super Bowl. That's it. End of story. Won't listen to an argument otherwise.
well, this move is definitely not towards Super Bowl. I mean, we'd have to have 52 of the other best players in the NFL and the AFC, because we definitely don't have one of the best
Well,
players
that's what
at
I'm
quarterback.
saying. John Dorsey has painted himself into a corner here, which is this. He's going to be tied to this forever. If we go out there, the Chiefs are, 5-6 wins year one, and Geno Smith is out there leading the Cardinals to 9 wins in a playoffs, they're done. They are done. This will be tied forever for them if they give up on Geno and Alex is a bust here.
This is what I was worried about. Clark Hunt signing, Andy Reid and John Dorsey making the big splash. Fans are woo! And so he's in Tahiti like, okay, I took care of them for 5 years. Now I don't have to be seen for forever again.
Yeah.
Just
Well, we'll see him probably in about 3 or 4 again
I
doing
got
this
him
again.
off my back. So
But
this Alex
John-
Smith move makes that little hot seat there.
But John Dorsey now has to build, like you said, the best roster around Alex Smith in the NFL. Can he do that? I don't think so. Because Alex Smith went to the NFC Championship game with San Francisco in 2011 with a dominant defense and a very good running game and one of the top tight ends in the league. He had an okay season. He managed them. He got him there. That's going to have to happen here to even get us to the playoffs. That's not good.
We don't have San Francisco's offensive line, who's probably the best in football. We don't have one of the top 5 tight ends in football like Vernon Davis is. We've got problems at receiver, especially if Dwayne Bowe doesn't sign. Jamal Charles is nice, but, I mean, I don't know. He's always taking himself out. We need a number 2 back, a complimentary back. We have no defensive line. They've got freaking Justin Smith out there.
Alden Smith.
We've got some decent linebackers, but DJ and Tomba are getting up in age. We've got Flowers and Barry, but Kendrick Lewis and then no other corner. I mean, there's so much work to be done. Alex Smith is 29. We are not headed anywhere near a Super Bowl.
No. I think you can head back towards the 7-9, 8-8 type seasons, and if that's going to suit your fancy, well, then you'll love this.
Yep, more exciting season.
More
close
exciting
games,
season. You'll lose a lot of close games.
Yep, 7 wins.
Instead of going, 0-8 at Arrowhead, you might go, 3-5, and you might actually win a couple. But as long as Peyton Manning's in this league and they have the best quarterback, you're not winning a division. as long as
It's
Peyton Manning's
Denver's
here.
for as long as Peyton stays. So
Well, that's what I'm talking about, because with Geno Smith, with at least a chance, I think the fans would have bought in, first of all. I think the fans would have bought in on Geno Smith, who, by the way, had identical numbers to RG3 coming out of college.
42 touchdowns last season to 6 interceptions.
And a lot of people wanted to talk about how Geno Smith's team lost a lot down the stretch. And they did. They struggled. But Robert Griffin lost a lot of games at Baylor, guys. Lost a lot of football games at Baylor. Jay Cutler lost a lot of football games at Vanderbilt. I promise you that. So when you're looking at that, I want to advise you that people talked about Geno Smith's maybe personality, like on the sidelines, he got in people's faces. You know what? You know who else I see getting in people's faces? I see Kobe Bryant, and I see Tom Brady getting a lot of teammates' faces. You know what? Those guys have enough gold between them that they could buy out a cash for gold shop from here to Tahiti. They have enough. They have more rings on their fingers than any of our mothers combined.
They're definitely intense. All they want is a championship. If you're not on board with that, get off. Like Dwight Howard, Kobe Bryant's yelling at him to get traded, go away. You just want to have fun and laugh and play. I'm here to win a championship. Tom Brady, win a championship. That's all that matters for them. Us, we just want Alex Smith, win 6-7 games, just be mediocre.
But a lot of people thought Geno Smith was that type of guy that's kind of, which they refer to as a malcontent. Well, I'm sorry. Kobe Bryant could be a malcontent all day. He's got one for his thumb, man. The guy's got 5 championships. More times than Hulk Hogan even ever held the WWF championship. Kobe Bryant has rings. Michael Jordan was probably not the easiest guy to deal with from some of those role players in Chicago, but guess what? He demanded you do the right thing. We talked to J.J. Burden on this show before, catching passes from Joe Montana, and he said, Joe wasn't a guy that was going to, talk trash to you, but you did the right thing or you were going to get the look.
And you don't want the look from Joe Montana.
So I like Geno Smith. I still think that's the direction that the Chiefs should have
Just looking at this Geno Smith, Alex Smith thing, I mean, Geno, you don't know. He's an unproven commodity. Like I said, he could be a boom or bust player. But don't you want to take a chance on that boom than knowingly settling for mediocrity, which is what you did with trading for Alex Smith.
His ceiling's hit.
Knowingly settled for mediocrity. Let that sink in.
Well,
Instead of taking an unproven, unknown commodity and trying to coach him up and mold him because he's got more talent and more skill than Alex Smith into being the boom instead of the bust.
Well, and that's going to be the story because Alex Smith's ceiling to me has already been hit. He's 29 years old. He's not getting any younger. Geno Smith very well could be a very, very good quarterback in this league for a lot of years. 15 years.
And I don't think just one quarterback in this year's draft is going to have, when they're 29, I don't think just one is going to have a season of 3,000 plus yards passing, 17 touchdowns, and 5 interceptions.
Several.
I think there's could be 2, 3, 4 that have better numbers than that at age 29, which that is Alex Smith's best season.
And he was the number 1 overall pick. You got to remember that. Alex Smith was the number 1 overall pick and has certainly underperformed, and we're going to see where this thing goes as we head to the draft because I think at this point, it's not much of a prediction. You're just going to say it's going to be Luke Jokel, and that's going to be that. You're going to let Albert go, and to me that doesn't make your team better. So.
I was getting excited for the draft, and now I'll watch, but it's going to be brutal. I'm just going to watch for kind of what other teams do because we already screwed this whole thing up.
Yeah, I think so, guys, and we're going to see because us saying this and us, really going at this regime and talking about this, I think, don't because this team's going to be better. This team, I'm going to say it right now, this team's going to be better than it was in 2012, but almost every team in the history of the NFL is better than the 2012 Chiefs. So keep that in perspective as we go forward because I think with solid coaching, I think Andy Reid's a solid coach. I don't know.
You saw what no coaching does with somewhat talented NFL players. You win 2 games.
Yes.
Because Romeo Crennel was pretty much just the defensive coordinator out there. Brian Daboll, offensive coordinator. We didn't have a head coach last year, for all I'm concerned.
Right.
Romeo didn't know what was going on in the press conferences anyway. He's like, I'm a defensive coordinator. I don't know what's going on with the whole team. I don't know.
Well, and Romeo here he was making millions out there, $1 million, $2 million.
So we're going to be a little bit better coached. I don't like some of the coordinators Andy Reid brought on, but I like Andy Reid. He knows how to be a head coach. He knows how to take charge, lead men. So 6-7 wins, yay, whoop-de-doo, nothing great. And this regime is over right now because John Dorsey and Andy Reid screwed it up.
Would you agree with me on this, that we saw in 2010, of course, Matt Kessel had his best season as Charlie Weiss, offensive coordinator. Chiefs win the division at 10-6, lost a playoff game. Would you say, if you had it to say right now, predict, is that the ceiling for this regime and this quarterback with the Chiefs, is getting to the playoffs and losing a first-round game? Do you think that's about where you'd set it?
I do not see this team making the playoffs with
Yeah.
Alex Smith as quarterback.
Okay, it's very possible. I think that your best case scenario is the 2010 Chiefs.
Absolute best case scenario, 2010 Chiefs. I agree, but I don't see that personally. I don't see them getting there.
Well, guys, we're going to see as this thing goes forward. We're going to near the draft where you're going to hit us up. Let us know what you think of this move. Come over to our Facebook page and hit us up on Twitter. Let us know, what your thoughts are on this. If you think that we're wrong, do you think we're the bumbling idiots and not the regime? Do you think that Noah and I are the idiots out there that are predicting this incorrectly? Do you think Alex Smith is the right guy for this franchise going forward? Or do you agree with us? Either way, we love to hear from you, so please hit us up.
I agree with Noah's points. I mean, he was right on today, so.
Hey, absolutely.
Yeah.
Great stuff. Hey, appreciate you joining us. Outsiders Podcast, Clint Swice and Noah Groniger. We appreciate you. Have a great one, Chiefs fans, and dig out of this snow someday.